Hey everyone! Today, we're going to tackle one of those super common frustrations that pretty much every new programmer runs into. And even better, we're going to replace that feeling of frustration with a feeling of, well, control. We're going to talk about a really powerful tool in Python that helps your code stop doing the same work over and over again, the dictionary.
You know that feeling, right? Where you've written some code and yeah, it works, but you can just feel it spinning its wheels. You can tell it's doing something repetitive and just inefficient. It's a feeling we've all had, and it's one we're going to fix today.
So to make this real, let's imagine a really simple task. We want to count how many times each unique word shows up in a big text file. Let's say the entire book of Alice in Wonderland. Seems straightforward enough, right?
Now, if you're just starting out, your first instinct is probably to use a simple list. Your code reads a word from the book, say the word hatter, and you think, okay, I'll just keep a list of the words I've seen. But then, what happens when you see a word that might already be on that list?
And this, right here, is where the problem starts. For every single word in that entire book, your code has to go back and scan your growing list from the very beginning just to ask, hey, have I seen this one before? It is a massive mountain of repeated work.
And let's just be real about the feeling here. This isn't just about computer performance or making things fast. On a human level, it feels deeply, deeply annoying. It feels like you've told your computer to be forgetful on purpose.
You know, the best way to think about this is to imagine you're at a party, and everyone throws their coat into a giant, messy pile on the bed. Every time a new person arrives, you have to dig through that entire pile, checking every single tag one by one, just to see if their coat is already in there. It's just a terrible system.
So let's just pause for a second and ask a really simple but really powerful question. Why are we searching again and again for something we've already figured out? What if our program could just remember?
And that, right there, is the entire idea behind a dictionary. It's not a list. It's not a sequence. It's a tool built specifically for remembering. It remembers a direct, instant connection between two pieces of information.
And this connection is so simple. It links a key, which is the thing you have, like a word, to a value, which is the thing you want, like its count. It's just like a phone book, you know? The key is a person's name, and the value is their phone number. You don't search the whole book, you just look up the name and get the number instantly.
Now, what's really cool is how this leads to a simple, repeatable pattern. I like to call it the aha pattern. For every single word we see, we just have a quick little conversation with our dictionary. First, we ask it, hey, have I seen this word before? If it says no, great, we'll start its count at 1. And if it says yes, even better, we just find its old count and add 1 to it. That's the whole pattern.
And what's so brilliant is that the code is a direct translation of that conversation. Seriously. If word not in counts, well, that's us asking the question. Counts word equals 1. That's us starting the count for the first time. And counts word plus equals 1. That's us just adding to the old count. The code is the logic.
So let's take a second and really appreciate what we just avoided doing. We didn't scan a whole list, not once. We didn't repeat our work. We didn't have to dig through that messy pile of coats even a single time.
We just asked a direct question, and we got a direct answer. We remembered. And that feeling is the whole point. It's the relief that comes from writing code that's smart, that's efficient, and that doesn't waste its own time.
Okay, so what's the payoff here? After our code has read the entire book and done all this remembering, how do we actually see what it remembered? Well, it's just one simple loop. This line of code is just a special way of asking the dictionary, hey, can you go through everything you've remembered and, for each word, give me back both the word and its final count.
And boom, just like that, you get this beautiful, clean output. The most common words, their exact counts, all retrieved instantly from your program's memory. This is that satisfying result you get when you stop searching and start remembering.
Now this brings me to what I think is the most important takeaway from this whole explainer. Real confidence in coding, it doesn't come from memorizing a bunch of syntax. It comes from being able to see what your code is actually doing at every single step of the way.
So the single best habit you can build as a beginner is this. Just print your dictionary. Print it all the time. After your code processes just one word, print it. After 10 words, print it again. You get to literally watch it grow. You see the counts update right before your eyes. It keeps you in complete control, and it takes away all the mystery.
So maybe think of printing not as some boring debugging tool, but as your own personal microscope. What if you could always zoom in and see the individual pixels of your program's memory, watching them change in real time? If you can do that, you'll never feel lost in your own code again.